Hey guys, now that my tarot videos are all up and done for the 13 signs of the zodiac, I'm finally going to get into talking about Saturn transiting into Sagittarius for 2018. Now, Saturn officially shifted into Sagittarius, I believe, on December 3rd of 2017, and as about like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 degrees to Sagittarius at this point. Um, Most people are saying Saturn is in Capricorn right now. And this is really the big difference when it comes to tropical astrology versus sidereal astrology. This video hopefully is not going to be too long, but it is a really deep subject and it is a lot of things to cover because for me to cover Saturn and Sagittarius, I'm going to have to go back to Saturn and Fucus and Saturn and Scorpio. So we're not even ready for Saturn and Capricorn. And if Saturn and Capricorn was taking place right now, a lot of messed up things will be happening because we are not prepared for that energy at all. And I'll go into what's going to bring, what's going to happen when Saturn transits into its own sign as well, because that really represents new karma. Because Capricorn is the sign that rules the karma, and or in a way. And when we Saturn goes through Capricorn again, we are breaking down the old karma and starting off a new karmic cycle in a way. And we're basically going to set those new structures are going to be in place for the next 30 years until Saturn returns to its own sign again and repeats the process. And we're not ready for any of that. Um, so right now, like I said, Saturn's in Sagittarius. But before we get into that, we have to go back to around 2014 to 2013, really, when Saturn was in Libra, if I'm not mistaken, and then all the way the transits from Libra to Scorpio, Ophiuchus, and to Sagittarius, where it is currently. So really, I want to get into Scorpio, Saturn and Scorpio. So around 2013, 2014, Saturn went into Scorpio, and Scorpio's only is a Scorpio has 6 degrees in it, just six. So it doesn't take very long for really any planet to transit through Scorpio. But with the Saturn transiting through Scorpio brought about revelation of one of a deep dark secret, and that secret was Ophiuchus. That was around the time when the astronomical, not astrological, the astronomical community was willing to acknowledge Ophiuchus' existence, and they put half truths involved with the this revelation because they said only children born in 2012 and moving forward would be affected by the Ophiuchus energy, and a lot of people were just okay with that, and you know there's no way that a sign that's been here for many, many, many years from the beginning is only going to affect certain people now from here on out just because we're willing to acknowledge it at this point. They could not keep Ophiuchus back anymore. You know, when Saturn transits into Scorpio, there's always a revelation of some truth that was suppressed for power. Most time when a situation is, when it comes to Scorpio energy at least, when things are suppressed or things are put on the ground, it's because that is in their most powerful position where they can be. So I'm going to hold this information from you so I'm in power. So I know the knowledge, but you don't. And so I can manipulate my life based off of my heightened knowledge, and you're just going about not knowing anything. And when Saturn transited in Scorpio, that was one of the things that was revealed. And it had to be revealed because what we was going through, the mass consciousness needed to accept the healing energy of Ophiuchus. We needed to be aware of that before Saturn went into Ophiuchus, because this is going to be a really powerful time. It's just this time in general. What a time to be alive! Um, and when when Saturn, this is the first time when Saturn transited Ophiuchus during, I want to say 20, 2015, 2016 to 2017 and some of 2015. That was the first time in 2,000 years that we have been aware, consciously aware of the Ophiuchus energy while Saturn was transiting through it. So it was a very powerful time, and really everyone hated it. Everyone talks about how much they hated 2016 and 2017, and how they just wanted to get away from those energies, and people don't even understand why. And that's because Saturn was being affected by Chiron. Chiron is the ruler of Ophiuchus, and Chiron deals with our wounds. Chiron is located between Saturn and Uranus in our solar system. And when Saturn transits through the sign of a Fucus, you are dealing with the breakdown of your ability to heal your issues, and really the revelation of what it is that you're not dealing with. Everybody was so miserable during that time. Things were not going right for people because people were not dealing with the energy. They were not healing what it is that they truly need to heal. And what can you expect? The energy has been suppressed for 2,000 years. We weren't ready for it, much less for a heavy planet like Saturn to come through and start reforming the energy in the sign, because that's what Saturn always does. It's the reformation of things. And that change and destruction is always somewhat painful, especially in the beginning when Saturn first starts transiting through a sign. And it does this every single time. It starts off by destroying a lot of the prior structures built up around that energy, and then by the time it ends, the structures have been realigned to what is currently going to best suit um, those energies. So we were not aware of our issues. We were not aware of what we needed to heal from. We were not aware of what it is that we were dealing with. We were not ready for the Ophiuchus energy. We were not prepared for it. We were not prepared for that transit. So everyone was having such a miserable time because no one was going within and really dealing with their issues. Yet their issues were creating a really prominent effect in their life. A lot of people had health conditions come out. A lot of people just felt weary. A lot of people felt really depressed. A lot of people wanted to kill themselves. A lot of people was dealing with a lot of negative aspects of Fucus because we were not prepared for that energy. And when after Saturn just recently left the Fucus, and it was the it was such a power. It was we were so behind on the Fucus energy. Right after Saturn left Ophiuchus, we had to have Mercury retrograde back over Saturn, which means when Mercury retrogrades over Saturn, it means that whatever internal changes that we make are going to last. And when it came out of Sagittarius back into Ophiuchus to make sure that we would, whatever it is that we didn't deal with when Saturn was transiting Ophiuchus, Mercury brought it back to the light and made sure, look, you got to deal with this. Then came right back out of Ophiuchus and is transiting back over Saturn, and then moving forward into Sagittarius. And then on top of that, we then had a new moon in Ophiuchus not too long ago. I believe that happened somewhere late in December, if I'm not mistaken, because I believe the full moon was in Taurus at December 3rd. A lot of things happened around December 3rd, and then we came into the new moon in Ophiuchus, which is our new start in those healing energies, a new start with our wounds, and saying we wiped the slate clean, or we did our best to wipe the slate clean of all of those old crystallized wounds that we had within us. And then that new moon was supposed to wipe that away, to completely seal that deal. And we're still not done with the Fucus energy. This is the first time we're consciously acknowledging it within 2,000 years. So we're still holding on to old wounds. And that's why when I did my tarot readings, almost every sign was coming in to 2018 with some of the same BS they was dealing with in 2017. We're still not done with dealing with the Fucus energy. We're still not truly in a comfortable place with it. We still not have all that much understanding about it either. So I say all that to say that that was why 2016 and 2017 was so terrible. It felt that way. That was why we had such a hard time. And this is why the tropical zodiac can get you into a lot of trouble if you try to apply it to your personal life, because it'll tell you that a planet is here or there, and it has nothing to do with the energies that's truly going on. And because Saturn was in Sagittarius when people thought it was, or even if Saturn was in Capricorn where people think it is now, we would be experiencing a lot of changes. It would be a lot of destruction of our previous structures, law, justice. A lot of things would just be big businesses. A lot of things will be broken down, and if we're not really ready for that Saturn and Capricorn energy at all, we're really not ready to deal with the Saturn and Sagittarius energy. And now that I've went through all of that backstory about that, now we can get to what Saturn and Sagittarius is truly about and why some of the energy is playing out the way it is playing out on the planet at this moment. So Sagittarius is the sign of the higher mind. Gemini rules the lower mind, which is the communication, the way that we express ourselves, the way that we talk to other people. With Sagittarius, we leave those things behind and we go into a spiritual state. We go into an understanding of connectivity, of spirituality, of understanding our divine purpose. They say Pisces rules spirituality, but really Sagittarius rules spirituality. Sagittarius is the understanding that we are all connected, that we are all part of a higher being, and that higher being is all within us, that we are all individuals and also a whole. These are all Sagittarius principles, because Sagittarius is the philosopher. And Sagittarius is how we expand ourselves as well within our higher knowledge and understanding. And so when Saturn transits this sign, in the beginning, it can be somewhat depressing because we can feel like we don't have a purpose. We can feel like there is no real reason to live. There is no understanding of higher principles. We don't really get how to expand ourselves. We don't understand our life path. Sagittarius rules that as well because Sagittarius is the traveler. We are all on traveling our path to our destiny. And when Saturn first starts transiting the sign, we are feeling like we don't know where it is that we're going in life. It can be a dismal energy because it can feel like such a heaviness because you could feel like there's no point or purpose in life because Saturn's energy is coming in to make you search for those things, and it's going to make it harder for you in the beginning, as always, until it comes out onto the later degrees of Sagittarius and we have greater understanding. Things didn't get easier the further they got along. We just grew wiser in these areas. And so right now, a lot of people are experiencing that type of energy. A lot of people don't know what it is that they want to do with their life, but they get in a feeling that it's becoming more and more important to have that information. So astrology is about to become a much bigger thing. Reiki is going to become bigger. Crystals, all of these things that are somewhat subculture, not necessarily subculture as a bad thing, or things that we don't really talk about on a bigger scale. Things that we don't socialize. Hey, I just came from the Reiki clinic versus hey, I just came from the mall. That's where the energy is headed towards because now people are going to need something that is going to make them feel like they have a purpose. They're going to need something that's going to make them feel like they are connected to a divine source. And a lot of ways, some people are going to try to do this with drugs, and that's not going to work. You see, Sagittarius and Piscean energy, they understand each other. They have an affinity, and they have a lot in common. Um, some people are going to try to do this with drugs. They're going to try to expand their consciousness with drugs, and they're going to try to expand their consciousness with they're going to try to find it in other people. They're going to rely on Gemini. They're going to try to communicate, but it's about going within. It's about understanding what it is you truly need to do to get on your life path and your purpose. When Saturn finishes its transit through Sagittarius, we're going to understand a lot more about spirituality, a lot more about some of the things I just previously mentioned, and we're going to have a much better perspective on these things. And those spiritual, because Sagittarius also rules spiritual leaders and teachers, and those people who really are about that life, who are really doing those things, those are people going to come to the forefront. Those people are going to be on top of this energy. They're going to come out as the really you could say the apex of society during the later degrees of Sagittarius because everyone's going to be coming to them. So these people who align with this energy are coming more and more and more are coming onto YouTube, coming onto forums, being involved in government, all of these things because they're realizing, look, if you want to know your purpose, you're going to have to find someone who help you find your purpose. So astrologers are going to, like true astrologers, um, tarot, all of that stuff is about to come to the forefront because people are going to want to find their purpose because they're going to feel adrift and lost, and they're not going to feel like they're connected to that Jupiter energy. And speaking of Jupiter energy, it always expands whatever it touches. And so with Saturn transiting through Sagittarius, we're going to feel an expansion of Saturn's power over us. And that's something else that people don't realize, that Saturn's energy is in general nothing to play, but when it comes to the Sagittarius, this energy gets more powerful, it gets more expanded. So there's going to be more restrictions, more limitations, more things that people are not going to be able to work you're not going to be able to go out and work for other people too much more. You're not going to be able to um, you're not going to be able to support yourself if you're not living off your own creativity and your own, which is in your own higher mind. You're not going to be able to support yourself if you're not on your destiny and your life path. You're going to definitely feel restrictions, and you're going to feel like this time is it sucks. Honestly, it's going to feel like it sucks. That's why everyone's so excited for the new year. They're like, oh, new year, new me. With Saturn's going into this and that. No, it's going to be difficult because you're going to feel disconnected from that higher self, from that energy of understanding and intuition within yourself, and you're going to have to go out and pay somebody to help you understand that. And once you get on your life path, then when you get on your life path, then the positive aspects of Jupiter are going to start manifesting in your life. You're going to have abundance. You're going to have freedom. You're going to have mental clarity. understanding, prophecy, money, wealth potentially. All of these things are going to start coming into your life once you start getting on your life path, and that's going to happen when you go to an astrologer or go within. Because if you don't have to go to someone else, you don't have to pay anybody else to do anything for you. If you have the energy within you, if you're naturally in tune with a lot of Sagittarian energy, this is going to be a great time for you because um, Saturn is going to bring you to the forefront. Saturn is going to make you prominent. It's going to make you that spiritual leader that everyone comes to. So that is the truth about the Sagittarius energy when it comes to Saturn transiting into the sign, and Saturn going into Capricorn is going to be a whole different ballgame because once Saturn transits its own sign, it's going to be breaking down some of the limitations and structures of Honestly, it's going to feel like a time when the floor is falling out from under us. There's not going to be too much external support. That government stuff, all of that. You see, the government's been shut down a lot. The government's constantly shutting down, constantly. This is happening, that's happening. It's going to be to a point where you're going to have to rely on yourself to support yourself. We don't realize just how much we're given in society. We are we can go out and get whatever we want if we work for somebody else. So if we work for this company, we'll have enough to pay our bills. We'll have enough to go to a fast food restaurant, and we'll have enough to buy a nice pair of shoes. But all of this is about serving the matrix. But that's not really putting the individual forward. And that's the energy in general that we're moving towards by going towards the age of Aquarius. See that the age also plays a role as well. And now that we're moving into that out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius, it's going to be more about your individuality and how that you express yourself and what unique talents you have to give to the world. And that's why it's going to be so much about knowing your life path, knowing your destiny, understanding what it is that you need to get on. Because when Saturn transits into Capricorn, that's a whole different ballgame. I'm definitely going to go much deeper into that in another video, but I had to start off with talking about Scorpio revealing a fucus, then Saturn being ruled by Chiron for those few years while it was in a fucus, and dealing with those negative energies and why everybody hated and wanted to get escape from 2016, 2017, and then the lack of escape you're going to get through Saturn and Sagittarius, because it's not a time where things are just going to be easy, because Jupiter's energy is going to expand Saturn, and it's going to feel like Saturn's presence is much heavier in your life, especially if you don't know your life path. So I hope this helps you guys understand some of the energies in your life, because I'm sure some of you guys are resonating with some of the things that I'm talking about, and so you're gonna start understanding that tropical astrology has its purposes, its uses, it's beautiful in its own right, and it has positive aspects to it. But when it comes to the personal aspects and what you want to know about yourself and predicting events in the world, then you need to get on this side of real astrology, because that's really what's going to tell you what's going on. So thank you.